Soulan issues that have been recently bubbling as of yesterday and the day before actually. So, um, Midnight, did I tell you about what happened on TikTok in concern for this very topic as well?
No. Well, I heard it briefly, but
Yeah, I think I might have
need the
mentioned it.
details.
Right. So yeah, on TikTok, we just started really being much more active on TikTok as the Solon creators. Um, and so anyway, so since we started, we've been getting a lot of um, mixed reactions, but more so because of around the flag, and people thought that we were replacing the Black American Heritage flag. But then once they realized we weren't actually doing that, they started to come around, and everybody's asking, "Well, when is the flag coming out?" And things of that nature, and people reaching out to actually help to brand the flag and whatnot. All that's fine. All that's great. Somebody sent me, one of the supporters sent me something, um, and somebody was making a distinction between the Black American Heritage flag and the Solon flag, and it didn't say anything, kind of shady or anything like that. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking helping, you know, the general lineage, help them understand the differences between the two. And I went to go congratulate her. I was about to say some nice things. The first thing I said was correct, and then I was about to elaborate with a second comment. Before I could even send the second comment, I was blocked. I'm like, what? I was just very confused. I'm like, I'm thinking we on the same page. I'm like, okay. Um, I told the person who sent it to me, and it was like, oh, it's likely because it's a it's a it's a very pan African type of mentality on TikTok, and they said that it's likely because they found out that Solon does not mean African American as far as the two A's are concerned. It does mean African American as far as a lineage, but as far as a definitive definition under Solon, meaning the double A meaning for Solon, it does not mean African American. It means autochthonous American, and that got them a little bit. It got them a little bit worried. So to me, that's a little bit strange to me because this entire thing is about lineage. So it does essentially include African American or Black American, freedman, mulatto, color, whenever whatever we've been, our ethnonym was, used to be, is, currently. I even still claim ADOS, FBA, all that. It's all lineage. So why do we have tribalism within the lineage? There shouldn't be tribalism. I mean, am I going crazy? Should there be tribalism in our own lineage?
No.
Right. And another thing I want to elaborate on before I get too off topic with it, we also shouldn't have regionalism within our own lineage. There's just it's too much regionalism going on. I'm starting to see people, it's not, I guess it depends on how you look at things, but to me, splitting up states to say, uh, this Black Americans over here, and all that regionalism is just another way to divide us as well when we are all one lineage. I don't play that game anymore, or I never really had, to be honest. So I think that regionalism stuff needs to go. I don't think there's anything wrong with identifying our subgroups, but some people are getting a little crazy with that too, trying to pretend that our subgroups are their own ethnicity or something like that. People are getting real strange around here. I don't know if they're actually Solon doing that, or if these are, I'm sorry, unless these are tethers or going around splitting up and having an agenda. Because I think that the same person who had a problem with um, Solon not saying African American is probably the same person who has an agenda to try to uh, make us equivalent to immigrants. and I think that's the entire mission. So, like, what you think?
Yeah, for me, as far as like having a vetting system, we're all about delineation over here. The purpose with the Solon is delineation. Why would we immigrate ourselves into an ethnic group that our origin is from the United States? So I think I have a few steps. So creating vetting systems specifically for Native Black Americans, Solon or lineage, could be seen as a way to address any historical and contemporary issues and inaccuracies, such as ensuring reparations, more political representation. Because you look at I'm in California, so you look at some people in the California legislative Black Caucus or even the National Black Caucus as well. And you can see why we need such representation and why do we need to have a vetting system as well. Because I mean, if you look at history and you look at the political structure right now with these melanated looking people, they're not of Solon lineage. They do not have the best interests at heart, especially with reparations and with cultural preservation. With people saying, "Oh, immigrants built this country. Immigrants built this country." No, the Solons built this country. If you understand it correctly, the system that would be in place will be aimed at defining, protecting, and validating the heritage and experience of Native Black Americans, aka so long, to distinguish our unique historical identity from those other melanated populations. So, if anyone want to go forward, you want to go for Moroccan. If not, I could break down some stuff as well. So,
Yeah, if you want me to go, or if you want to break it down, go ahead.
yeah, I'll break it down. So, I mean, yeah, the first thing is first off is cultural preservation. So, with that, by clearly identifying those of Solon lineage, such a system could really preserve our actual traditions that we had created in this country because our origins from here, histories, and cultural practices specific to the Native Black American, aka Solon population. It could also help maintain our narrative around the distinct role in the United States of America history, particularly our experience with slavery and systematic oppression, and us fighting back and us speaking more about the Reconstruction, because I think that's a very important highlight of our history. That's when we actually started building and pretty much had our own self determination, our community based system, and I think we need to get back towards it. The second thing is, hey, right now, me is the political advocacy. We've a lot of us within the last 4 years have been stepping up our game on advocacy, political wise, and reparations, especially reparations. This system definitely could be used in advocacy, which we have been doing pretty well for policies or programs specifically aimed at addressing the historical injustice suffered by Solons, such as reparations. A formalized lineage distinction might help focus resources and support towards who have direct ancestry tied to slavery and its aftermath, specifically in the United States of America, ensuring that we would benefit most from these efforts disproportionately or specifically. Remember those two words, disproportionately or specifically. And then having clarity on identity. So, given the so called diversity within the broader Black American community, such a vetting system could offer clarity to who qualifies as a Native Black American and so on, based on ancestral ties to this land, ancestral ties to being an American freedom or American slavery, and its resulting social political impacts. It definitely could foster a stronger sense of collective identity. So I could see there are potential challenges and concerns. Um, I know people that will talk about mixed lineages, but how we define it, and how everybody else define it, as long as you have one Soulan parent. So I mean that could get rid of that complexity right there. But they also it does mean you have to be on code or not. But I mean, but definitely you got to have that one so long parent. And the stuff that we run into is the so-called divisiveness. People want to immigrate, they want to make themselves out to be immigrants, or they are immigrants, and they're trying to tether their way into our ethnic group. Um, and there's been a little pushback and whatnot, but it's mainly from these Pan-Africanists or Afrocentric people. So, and it's such an implementation and acceptance. I mean, having us having a vetted system that is very fair, very accurate, and widely accepted is not that hard or challenging at all. Because most people they'll find what's up. Hey, I'm from here. My grandma from Mississippi. My grandma from Arkansas. And stuff like that. So I mean, we got most of us have the documentation, the family history, and the legal and other legal documentation. So I'm gonna land there. I'm gonna pass it off back to Morrow.
You're fine. Absolutely. No, you go ahead and cook. But yeah, absolutely. All that should be defined and understood. Absolute. And but yeah, in continuing the conversation around this vetting system. So again, even outside of that situation, then I'm left with this other situation that happened 2 days ago. So we had a female tweet. There's been a trending topic with us tweeting our flag, which is the Black American Heritage flag, with our face and saying, the face and the flag. And that's been going on quite a while this past year. Um, and on more than one occasion, there's been trolls of actual non-Solon using it and then maybe admitting it later or not. And I know of at least one who's admitted it later. Um, Sans to this woman that happened 2 days ago. So she did the same thing, and yeah, some people had a polarizing reaction to it, whether they were Solon or not, about maybe her looks or what have you. So I didn't say anything about her damn looks. What I did was that what me and Midnight do is that we go to your page and you claim that you're Black American, you're Solon, then you should be representative of what Solon is, especially if you're using our flag. Somebody pointed out as well. We a lot of people weren't even aware of the Black American Heritage flag until after FBA's or Tariq and them really started to put much more of a spotlight on it. So if for people to now know what this flag is, you would have to be somewhat politically involved or politically astute to know, that it comes with politics involved here and what it's about, and why wouldn't you want to um, be about the lineage and fight for the actual lineage you're actually posting and using a photo op for? So this woman's using a photo op with our flag, and then her tweets ain't matching. What me and Midnight do is we go to your page and we see what the hell you talking about. So she wasn't talking about no reparations. She wasn't even talking about us in a positive light. She said that Solon is has institutional racism and something else disparaging. I forgot what it was off top. And the only positive thing that she even said about us was in relation to our phenotype, but that's just a way to help herself squeeze in and say that she's Solon as well. Her tweets ain't matching. You wouldn't be disparaging to your own people, and you would at least have some positive things to say about your own people outside of just a damn a phenotype of how everybody has we come in all shapes and sizes and colors. That's just a way for you to squeeze in, and I don't appreciate um you know her lack of support. So all I did was point out her lack of support, and here go not only tethers but a bunch of Solon, not a bunch but a few Solon sitting up here being mad at me as if I said anything about her looks. I didn't say a damn thing about her looks. I didn't say a damn thing about her skin tone. That's another thing. People are making this about skin tone. I don't know. In my family, I got dark skinned people as well. I'm light skinned as hell, but I got a bunch of dark skinned people. It ain't got nothing to do with skin tone. And like as I said in the same tweet as well, I said she could have been a light skinned Khoisan. I would have said the same thing. I would have said the same thing. It was less about her. Well, her looks might have played a factor to a certain degree, especially for certain people. But I looked at her tweets, and that's exactly what I said. So to make this about skin tone, it's a bunch of BS. I know one Soulan personally, well not personally, but we have a great, very cordial um, back and forth with each other. We're very friendly, and she tried to make it about skin tone, knowing that I like a hell of a lot of her tweets that relate to her skin tone, which is dark skin. So I said, why would you sit here and lie, knowing that I always got your back when it comes to you and your issues as it relates to skin tone in America or colorism or lack. I don't even think there's a big problem when it comes to colorism and Soulan culture. We don't really have that problem. That's not really a problem we have. But I do support ones who might feel a way about it to some degree. And I said, why would you sit up here and make that tweet knowing that that's not how I'm reacting to the situation. She later admitted it wasn't me, but she was just feeling the type of way about other people, thinking they're making it about skin tone. Absolutely not. It's not about skin tone. Um, and in some references, people are going around calling me a mulatto all day. Um, but both my parents are black. So I mean, I'm not taking offense to skin tone. I'm not trying to reflect or deflect to that. Let's just skip to the what I'm talking about, which is the fact that she has a large lack of support for the very people she's using a photo op for. So come to find out, I did some digging. So not only did I find out she was disparaging us, I just so happened to Trump stumble upon a tweet that said that she made all of that up and that she was just trolling racists. Now the context of what she was talking about is deleted, so I don't know exactly what she's referring to when she says the racists. But I highly doubt a girl that young is talking about is going around trolling grown white men. She's trolling what she perceives as racist as it pertains to say FBA, because that's what a lot of them do. I'm not stupid. Ain't nobody stupid here. So she's sitting up there trolling, and she's admitted she's a troll. And now, I mean, I feel like I'm right. I'm right. I'm right this entire time. Y'all need to start vetting people. We need to have a vetting system, and I don't understand why people are okay with us just being exploited. What is this thing with us and just allowing ourselves to be exploited? Solon, what's that about?
It's honestly it's acceptance. We want to be accepted by everybody. We want to get along with everybody. We know that we've been through a huge systematic oppression, and yeah, pretty much everybody who comes in who looks like us, we pretty much accept her with open arms.
Right.
Um, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's. Oh, my bad. I didn't know if I cut you off or not. But yeah, that's correct. We that's exactly it. We have a very just we are the world mentality, a welcome mat mentality, an exploitive mentality. Some of us. My mom got it to some degree. I'm sitting here talking to her about some of the damn issues involved here, and she's like, "Well, the other people need help. Fuck, I don't want to curse, but come on now. Yes, people do need help, but not at our expense, and not for us to be exploited under that same help. I don't like help when it's just one sided. That's selfish, and people are giving themselves away. They allow themselves to be host bodies for leeches. That part I can't agree with. So going forward, I think that not even think we should absolutely have we should absolutely have a vetting system so we don't allow stuff like this to continue and to happen. And I don't understand how people. Thank you for the follow, Brighty. I'll follow you back. But for the people who are in our faces, playing in our faces deliberately and trolling, and then when I point it out, do I get an apology? I don't get an apology. I don't get an apology. I was right the entire time though. Vet. And what is wrong with that? What? Why would you not want to vet? Why do you not? Why do you have a problem with vetting? It's funny because one of the people who had a problem with me vetting, I vetted him when I first met him because everybody was calling him Panty, and I don't want to say who it is out loud, but and he does exude Panty vibes because he allows our exploitation. This individual, when I first met him, I gave him a Soulan test. He had a couple stuff right. He had the most important things wrong. And I don't even want to go down the route of what those important things are because I don't want to say what they are and then you go around Googling and then certain people know. It's just certain things that Solon knows culturally. And that's why certain things just need to be gate kept. There's another woman too on TikTok who's going around trying to teach Tutnese out loud and publicly. Is nothing sacred to y'all? Nothing is sacred. Have some pride. Y'all lack it. A lot of y'all lack pride. And just give it away. But yeah, it was just I really would appreciate if we started vetting and not trying to lambast other Solon for vetting as well, and stop getting so up in arms about questions. It's simple questions. This is not bullying. I didn't bully that girl. I wish her the best. I ain't got nothing. I said nothing about her personally. Nothing. I didn't attack her. I asked her to get on code, and she still ain't get on code because I checked her page. I asked her to push for us. What is wrong with pushing for the very lineage you're claiming? How don't you want to do that? All this is politics. As soon as you post a picture with our flag, it's politics. So don't try to hit me with the oh well, everybody not in politics. You are in politics. As soon as you post our flag, it's politics. And this kind of leads me to Kamala as well, because a lot of people are too accepting of Kamala and her race shenanigans. So, hold on, what you got to say about Kamala and her race issue? You got something on that?
Yeah, as far as the race issue, I mean, the last interview she had when she was talking about her ethnicity or race, she's saying 1/8 black. So you using the one drop rule that had nothing to do with the specific people, which is Jamaican. Your father's from Jamaica. They ain't have no one drop rule or no octoroon stuff in
Yeah,
Jamaica. And then when people like Canazons, when they started pulling that paperwork, it came out dirty.
right.
They seen all types of Irish people, Indian people in their lineage and stuff like that, but no type of Afro Jamaican. And again, his father never or her father never came out and state that he was black. He only said he was Jamaican. He only highlighted his Irish lineage in whole. So she's Indian slash Indo Jamaican with of Irish descent, like American. So
You know what's so crazy
um,
about that too? Because when she found the, what was it, obituary, or the digital one, through Ancestry, or what have you, they like I said, it was impossible for her to have met her because she died in 1960, right, or something like that. But then,
yeah, literally 3 years before she was born.
right, okay, but then the very next day, maybe a couple hours after it was exposed, they quickly changed it to unknown. There's something going on here systematically, and they're covering it up. And a lot of people don't even know that because they probably, to some degree, kind of silenced it. I don't understand how it wasn't trending when all of us are talking about it. If we can get FBA or Black American trending damn near every day on Twitter, we can't get Kamala trending on her race issues. That's crazy. That was a big deal there for them to, for us to find out that this woman, she's going around, charading around that this is her grandmother. It just can't be. And the fact that they systematically go on ahead and changed it the very next day, and there is no coverage on it, really. I should have wrote an article about it, to be honest. That's what I should have did. At least it would have been on the Google site for somebody to see. But yeah, but oh yeah, and congratulations, because yes, in midnight we'll be writing more articles on Soulan.com. Absolute. So we'll have much more things or to talk about as well and articulate. But Kamala and her race issues is the very thing that we've been identifying for the very long time, which is tetherism. And it is a major problem. And I don't like the idea of someone using our lineage for votes and nothing more. That's all it is. And she's constantly being called out for it. From the pandering is just so annoying at this point. You walking out of soul food places with shrimp and grits, you talking about your soul records, your flub on you talking about listening to Tupac in the 80s when he came out in the 90s. Um, what else? Your collard greens in the tub. These aren't normal things that we do. We don't do that. We don't lie like that. She has a real
Because
issue.
I'm thinking like, what is the purpose of trying to tether to our ethnic group? Like when you actually go outside, because people gonna have to come outside. Um, People gonna have to come outside because we're gonna be start commuting. Because we're gonna be Black Americans. We're all gonna be around each other. And if you're not around, and you try to pretend to be Black American, and you just in your own ethnic enclave or whatnot, there's like literally no point. You're just trying to sow more division with Solons and other ethnic groups. Why don't I don't know why people don't want to stay on their lineage. People say they have a wonderful culture and stuff like that, but when it all comes down to it, they want to emulate us. Like we need targeted economic support, so we need actual civic protections, like the immigrant narrative with a lot of these tethers and non-tethers. They have their own set of challenges and solutions that are very distinct from those faced by us. So the only way I can really think of it is, I mean, actual vetting system, like having genealogical research, documentation. I know we can't do that all throughout Twitter, but just like Marak said, we could literally check out their page. They ain't talk about reparation. They ain't talk about any type of Black empowerment, like Black businesses or the culture or whatnot. Because yeah, that Black American Heritage flag is heavy. That carries a lot of stuff. Most people who has that in their profile, or they talk or they post about it, It represents black empowerment. It represents us. So that comes with a lot of stuff. You're supposed to talk about um stuff that really that's how you call it, that's good for us. Not talking about phenotypes and oh I look good and all this other type of stuff. No, talk about the culture, talk about inventions, talk about something that represents self-determination. So I mean it's just you just cause people just cause more divisiveness by even doing that, by not standing on your lineage. And I know there's steps that we should actually do in real life, like make our own credit union and shit, make our own black card, like a black card membership program, like having like a civilian oversight board and a council of Native Black Americans, so on, making it sponsored and invite only to family members and people that we know who is of the lineage. That will definitely create a strong foundation, a community led governance, as you will, and accountability. So I mean, using that, that's another way we can probably vet. I mean, in real life, because from that, the same person who's cosplaying and stuff like that, they can't come around because we're gonna say where your paperwork, where your family from, and in the U.S. Census of 1870, and then your tether card is gonna get pulled, and then you're gonna get checked, and then you're gonna get embarrassed, and then you're gonna hate us even more because whatever we benefit from, y'all gonna benefit because y'all melanated. It
Hmm.
really doesn't really it really doesn't make sense at all. I don't know why y'all don't want to stand on your lineage. I don't know why y'all don't want to have accountability for yourselves or have any type of preservation because you guys, the tethers, y'all ethnicizing yourself. Y'all ethnicizing us by trying cosplaying us and then try to attach your whatever our history to yours, but you're ethnicizing yourself inside the land. Cause you could be Igbo, you could be Yoruba and stuff like that. But I mean, it's not too much as of us because when stuff gets rough, they're gonna go back home. If there was something that went on in the United States, let's say
Yeah.
a president
We.
gets assassinated and something going on, they're gonna go back home. So I'm gonna let my play. I'll talk a little bit more on like maybe that black membership card thing, like an idea how we
Yeah.
can actually vet ourselves. So I'm gonna land.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna wrap this up in a little bit. I didn't want to go too far tonight, but I do want to say one last thing too because I do want to recognize the fact that like I said, the genealogical records, that's fine and dandy, absolutely, because that's really going to get down to who is who. But if we really being strategic about this, we can galvanize Solon and non-Solon allies by getting us to be more on code and getting them to be much more allies by actually saying, hey, Soulan, Black Americans deserve reparations. So if you want to go around and tether to us, you might as well benefit. You might as well help us. If you want to tether so bad, you might as well help us in the process. You go ahead and help us by showing your support, your vocal support, in whichever form that is, by talking about how we deserve our reparations. And when we start to see those tweets and reparations starts being the number one topic on Twitter because we're forcing that hand, then that's when we're really shaking things up too as well. Let it be known you have something to say.
Hey, good evening. I had a question about I am familiar with this name and even on my TikTok account, I believe one of them I have this on there. Pre and that was before you guys have really fleshed this out, but I got the gist of it. But my question is, do you recognize the freedman political status and the difference between ethnicity and that status as it pertains to achieving reparations.
Yeah, Freeman. So for what I recall, and what I was looking up last few years, yeah, Freeman is supposed to be a political status for Solons. From what I understand, and I'm looking up a lot of the history about the Freeman courts, Freeman Bank, the Freeman schools. Yeah, most of those schools were catered towards the Native Black American slash Solon population. So I
Correct.
do have an understanding.
Good.
But I do know that I know a couple. There was a couple groups. There was a minority back then that was also using the freeman status. But I do understand the freeman status now today is supposed to be specifically towards Solons. So
Correct. So freedmen are what the freed or emancipated Negro slaves were called, and also the free blacks at the time came under that as well. And were nationally emancipated and no longer under the subject of the fugitive slaves laws. So, the only point I want to make is that of delineation, that status belongs to all of the people who are descendants of that group of people who were here before 1870. So it's important to keep that separate, and allies are all well and good. There's still 50 million of us, and them getting on code is exactly right. You can't, step into your full purpose and potential if you don't understand your lineage and what's owed to that lineage. So, but the gate definitely needs to also, and the further delineation comes from tacking on that freedmen are understanding that, whether you are Black American, ADOS, FBA, Solon, that you come under, if you can trace your ancestry back, that you are uh, part of our justice claim, and you should uh, delineate in that way when you're pursuing policy. And so I just wanted to share that or give my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Yes, you're absolutely right. We're not like these other groups, or so-called groups, or whatever they call themselves, what have you, that want to somewhat separate um, lineage by way of ethnic name or ethnonym. We claim all of ours because, again, it's all following the same lineage. So there's going to be no differences when it comes to us, whether um, we're saying Solon or not.
Right.
It is
And let me
ours.
just make one more distinction, and the reason why, and that is because there are specific names that we have been called, given, that actually have legislation and policy attached to them. That's why Negro is so important. And that's tied to the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which is actually a treaty. And interesting, who was also originally under the 1866 Civil Rights Act. But so it's important. Black is legal, is in our paperwork. Um, uh, Mulatto is in our paperwork. Um, some cases African American, but and freedmen, of course. So those names have actual documentation. So that's just a distinction, and that we need to make sure that when we're teaching and bringing new people and the younger people in, that they need to also know that and understand that when we go for policy, we can't put Solon in the legislation. It can be, maybe it can start there, but in terms of the beneficiary, it has to be under that class or race neutral basis. So I just wanted to offer that.
Absolutely, we do understand that. We understand the implications and the federal recognition of freedmen. 1,000% we do. Um, we're just harping on Solon because we are the creators. So I'm not sure if you knew that or not. But yes, me, Solon, and T-Roy. But yes, people, this was. Wait, before I let you go, let it be known. What do you think about? We already had this conversation already, but what do you think about um, African American? Is it ours to keep? Should we keep it? Should we gatekeep that, or is should that be for? Should we just give that for the actual or continental Africans?
Yeah, I think yeah, we have to keep that because again, that is attached to, so it's a each of these names is reflective of a period in time for us, whether we did it or not. We didn't do African American, but now here we are, and it's just going to muddy the waters, and we should retire it. It's not necessarily attached to legislation previous to these reparations task forces that are giving us so much trouble. So for that reason, we can't give it up, but we definitely need to retire it, so to speak. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Um, so yes. I want a box. I like the one good thing about California is that there's a box with a definition. So, like you said, we don't have to delineate along ethno names. It is it's basically a description of the lineage that would be the federal recognition that we need. And we do obviously
Yeah,
need that.
California. I'm sorry for interrupting you. And California says I'm in California. You can also check other, and I just put in Black American because a Black slash African American, it still has that definition of Black racial groups of Africa. Proceed. I'm sorry.
Right. But you guys have that box underneath there that says, oh, I'm sorry. That's still at the state employee level, so let me not misspeak. So, yeah, I get you. I understand.
Yeah, still at the
That's
California
why an
HR.
agency would have been so important. You can check that box, but then you'd be able to show up at the agency, with your paperwork.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, the California, like looking up a lot of the Freeman stuff and how self reliant we were, and especially the Freeman courts really piqued my interest. Well, all the freedom stuff piqued my interest, but especially the freedom courts. Now where we're talking about mass incarcerations, the backlogs at the courts, alternative courts, correctional facilities I privately own, that really piqued my interest. I'm like, yeah, we definitely should have had the California Freedmen Agency. Let me land.
Absolute, guys. Absolute. Yeah, we will be making this much more known. Solana is definitely taking off. Um, and yeah,
Why do
we
you
respect
think
ourselves. We
it's
respect our
why is
lineage.
it taking off, and is it among who? What younger people? Who is it taking off among, and why?
I'm sorry, say that again, because I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or Solon.
I was talking to either of you. Who is it
Oh,
taking
okay.
off among, and why do you think it is?
Oh, okay. So I think it's taken off because of the fact that for the longest time, Black Americans were made to some degree feel like we don't belong in America. And so now this is codifying ourselves and solidifying ourselves as American as can be. Our lineage is right here in America. We are noticing that everything culturally um, pronounced about America is America. We've been here before the inception of America. A lot of people are just now really, really recognizing that. I think we've always known that, but and I think that's probably part of the reason why too. When you have foreigners coming in and everybody's coming in and they can talk about where they're from as they're coming in. So they can say, "Oh yeah, I'm Jamaican. I'm not a part
Why
of
would you
America." Um,
disassociate yourself from from the word? Because if you if let's say Solon is widely embraced, then you have the risk of giving up Black American, which we see them creep. They'll tether on to whatever. So we have to stand firm on all of those. So, because 20 years, how will they know if we have 10 million more
Yeah,
melanated
that's
immigrants
why I
here?
always when I write my articles or when I speak, I always say Native Black American slash Soulan. I either use the 1A or the 2A. Like my profile is pretty much the 1A because I don't want to get rid of Black American. So I
So you
mean,
want to be
I take all
separated.
of it. I take FBA, I take Freeman, I take ADOS, um, take American Indian, wherever we have where y'all wanted to call me. So
We
Well,
have a
I
wide
know how
spectrum of
we
people
are. We are
on
a
our.
creative people. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna just say as a caveat, I'm old, so I'm older, definitely. So I'm like, why can't we just stand with Black American and have you young people stand on that against this onslaught of people? Because when you say Black Power and Black American, people think about us. Will your grandchildren still connect? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. I mean, I appreciate the
Yeah, but
creativity.
the thing is that black is just is it's too convoluted because black is an ethnicity and it is a race. So people think that they can come here and they can infuse the race concept onto our nationality and then say that they're Black American too through that race insertion. So they don't understand
But
that when
how
you
do
come to
you
America,
protect all of
black
our
is an ethnicity here.
accomplishments of the past? Do you go back and redact everything and attribute it to
No,
Solon?
no, no.
so I would put
Oh, oh,
so for me, I'm not gonna try to let the cow out back, but we're trying to write some literature and we're gonna put Black American. We also can put the slash so long, it will be somewhere in the books, but it's gonna be particular
Okay,
Black
I
America
get
because there's so
you.
many books out there
I
that
get
says
you.
African American.
I
So I
got you.
want to
I
change
yeah.
that
got you
narrative as
though.
well and
No,
put
I
back
got you.
to
It just clicked. Like I said, I'm old and I've been smoking. Okay, so I
Oh,
get
we
you
all
because
a little bit of
even
that.
now with Black American slash African American, they're still convoluting that. So y'all saying no, we're Black American, so we got to add on this Solon. We're not gonna, be out here bandying about our political status because that's for political and legislative business. But we need this distinguishing um
Right.
sure.
You
I
got to think
get
of it
it
like
because
this.
It's hard.
You,
It's a hard fight. Yeah, and I know we're on slippery footing. But I don't want
mhm.
everybody having freedmen coming out of their mouth. So I get it. I get it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna yield on that and let the youth have it.
And just to be clear, and I'm sure you get it now, but just to be clear for the audience as well, people listening, Solon will be used as an ethnicity. So when you think about an ethnicity, right, you think about Hispanic, right? Hispanic is an ethnicity. But you can be a Mexican Hispanic, right? So when it comes to us and our nationality, and then also our ethnicity is tied to Black Americans. It's only specifically for Black Americans, though. So when we just got to be clear here about who we're talking about. We've defined exactly what Solon is, who applies for Solon. We had to make this airtight as far as the definition, um, so that it can't be infiltrated. Um, it has to align with what we're talking about, and I think we've really been shaping it pretty well um, in that regard. People are really taken to it because they do recognize how black is can be convoluted between the race and the ethnicity. Young people are definitely catching on to it, but honestly, I'm getting everybody. of all age groups, honestly, DMing me about it, wanting to know more about Soulan. So it's not really specific to an age group specifically, but I would say, um, the younger ones are definitely using it uh, uh, a whole lot more, as we've seen, especially on TikTok. Um, but yeah, we're moving this thing, and I think it'll be great to really tie us in and give us pride as Native Black Americans, um, because we're not immigrants. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion or possible jealousy comes from. Because what I was about to finish with was is that a lot of people, the immigrants, come in and they are tied to a country outside of America. So when they ask us, where are you from? And we're telling them from America. And they say, well, where's your grandmother from? Or your great grandmother? Or your great, 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 great. Everybody from the greats is from America. And they can't understand that concept because everybody coming into America is an immigrant. Not just the black ones, the Hispanics, the whites. They're all coming in as immigrants. And so they can't understand the concept when we say that we are 100% American. We're from here. We don't have an outside land. Something happens right here in America, like Midnight said, we're stuck here. This is our land. This is our home. We don't have nowhere to run to. So, with that said, I will close this out. I'm glad everybody came in to enjoy the space. So, thank you for listening to Soulan Podcast. Make sure you check out the creators and follow them on TikTok at Soulan Creators. For all your latest and hoodoo needs, make sure you check out MorocOris.com. And for all inquiries, education, and merchandise surrounding Soulan, make sure you visit Soulan.com for the official Soulan everything. Thank you for coming. Keep the glow. Keep the soul.